The Rogue One comic adaptation recently ended with its 6th issue. It was notable for its inclusion of extra scenes that were removed from the final version of the film, providing us with more character details. Some of these moments were present in the novelization of the movie, but today I wanted to run through the comic and fill you in on what it showed us that the movie didn't. First up, we see the conversation between Galen Erso and Bodhi, in which Galen convinces him to defect. He tells Bodhi all about the Death Star and asks the pilot what he's going to do about it. A little later, we see his actual defection as he approaches the partisans with Galen's message. In Jyn's cell on Wobani, her cellmate named Nail threatens her life. This is a scene present in the novelization, providing a little extra urgency and necessity to Jyn's rescue by the rebellion. After her rescue, she assumes the men who took her were sent by Saw to kill her. When Cassian asks her the last time she had any contact with Saw, she recalls a moment that we've also seen in the book Rebel Rising. It plays out a little differently here, like Saw had less of a choice. I would go with Rebel Rising's version of events, but argue that we're seeing it in the comic through Jyn's memories. She might be remembering it a little more biased against Saw. Bail Organa gets a little more screen time in the comic when he and Mon Mothma discuss finding proof of the Death Star's existence and what it might mean for the Imperial Senate. A very small but fun moment is Jyn actually, quote, finding that blaster pistol she has in the U-Wing. As Bor Gullet attaches himself, or itself, onto Bodhi, we get a glimpse into his mind. Again, the novel tells us what's happening here, but as Bor extracts the truth from the pilot, his memories are all jumbled together. That's what causes his apparent but very temporary insanity. When Jyn and Saw are reunited, we get even more memories between the two. The best one is of the two of them together in a room with Bail and Leia. This, again, is a bit of a discrepancy. In the book Leia, Princess of Alderaan, Leia first learns about her parents' involvement in the rebellion at the age of 16. But still, this is a cool image. One of the absolute best additions in this comic is Saw's death. His final word is Stila. I wish so hard that had been included in the movie. How awesome would it have been to see him pull out that hologram of her face and look at her one last time? Yes, it would have potentially confused anyone who hadn't seen the Clone Wars, but die-hard Star Wars fans would have been losing their minds. Before Krennic arrives on Edu, we get to see a little bit more of Galen and his engineers. One of the shortcomings of the film is the lack of Galen. I feel like reading Catalyst is almost required for Rogue One, if only to truly understand his character and his relationship with Krennic. There are more similar scenes after Galen is fatally wounded that show us some specific moments from Catalyst. There's a cool beat between Bodhi and K2SO where they discuss their similarities. They're both Imperials that were reprogrammed, so to speak, by Galen and Cassian respectively. This is another scene that was shown in the Rogue One novelization. After Jyn and her group return to Yavin 4, there's a nice moment where Mon Mothma offers her sympathies for her father's death. When Cassian and his team of covert commandos volunteer to attack Scarif, we get flashbacks of some of the, quote, terrible things they did in the name of the rebellion. I don't think the film did a great job of communicating that the rebels could be pretty dark. Our only example is Cassian killing his informant early on, which is bad, but I like the idea of all these guys feeling the need to atone for their previous actions. After they depart, we get more from Admiral Raddus, which is never a bad thing. We see the moment he decides to join the fight to help Rogue One. There's also another cameo for the Ghost. There's extra dialogue between K2SO and the other security droid whose mind he invades. Most of these additions I would have liked to see in the final cut, but I don't think this bit was that necessary. I think the film did a pretty good job of showing K2 didn't exactly want to go through with this, but did it anyway. The final added scene is Vader's return to the Devastator after his rampage on the Profundity. The comic closes with the opening crawl to A New Hope, which I think was a nice touch. But that's it. Those are all the additional scenes in the comic adaptation of Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Which of these scenes do you wish had made it into the final cut of the film? Let me know in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out my Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.